Oh, hey, I'm glad you're here. This is our Dirk Discoveries episode. Get it? Discoveries, Dirk Discoveries. I'm Dirk. Anyway, Ryan and Lindsay are back, and we each have brought 5 favorites that we saw this year. This is also the season finale of season 18 of VHS. We'll return in a few weeks with more professions, screen teens, virtual video store format, and much more. Season 19 is already filling up with great familiar faces and some shocking new ones. So I hope that you've subscribed. Thanks to everyone on the Patreon. You're going to really enjoy this cyber cop situation I got going over there. And thanks for visiting our Threadless shop and spreading the word of VHS so we can find more like minded cinema loving weirdos. I also have a few guest spots. I'm popping up on a few comedy and food podcasts, so keep an eye on our Instagram and Blue Sky for those. All right, here we go. The guests are Ryan and Lindsay from our Top 10 of 2024 episode, just over yonder. Go check that out. The films are our 5 favorite discoveries of this year, and this is VH Greetings and salutations. This is VHS, and I'm your host, Dirk Marshall. Welcome to our annual Dirk Discoveries episode, where I'm joined by 2 of my favorite podcasters, and we each bring 5 of our favorite film discoveries of the past year. Welcome back, host of the Schlockanaw podcast, Lindsay Wilkins. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's great to see you again. It's been so long.
I know, so long. It'd be good to have a catch up because, haven't spoken in so long.
Yeah, but we don't have time. And here's Ryan Gillen from New World Pictures podcast. Welcome back.
I discovered you, Dirk.
Well, here we are. We're going to talk about these discoveries. Only 5, but, there's quality, not quantity, shall we say. Let's just jump right into it. So, Ryan.
Okay, I had 10, so just quickly.
Oh, did you do it again?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
every year.
Okay.
I over prepare.
Well, Ryan,
I'm still gonna stick with one though. That is gonna be my number 5. I'm gonna stick with this one. I've been trying to champion this one all the time. I think this is I had not seen this before, and I thought this was awesome. I love this movie, Nail Gun Massacre.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
This is I'm holding up the disc from TerrorVision. I had picked a couple other movies, I think River and a couple other ones, and then I just was like, I knew this was one of those like stacked releases of a 4K of some really like cheesy slasher film, and I was like, I don't know, okay. And I was like, I threw it in the cart and I just bought it, and then I got it, and not only they give you so much stuff, but this is about a killer in a motorcycle helmet who, yes, kills people with a nail gun. There is, I should say, a trigger warning. There is some, starts off with some assault. So just, which sadly I'm having watched a lot of exploitation films and stuff from the 70s, and you're sort of like, well, here's that. And never my favorite moment, but it is just kind of, that's how it goes. Once you get past that scene, you get a great slasher with people getting killed by a nail gun, and the killer has a bunch of really cheesy one-liners.
Nice.
Which I couldn't get enough of. And it's just, when you're looking for that slasher itch, and you're looking for, which I always am, but there's only so many that I haven't seen. So I've watched a bunch, so you're like, okay, well, all right. But this one, totally fun. Really, really enjoyed it. And just want to keep talking about Nail Gun Massacre because I liked it so much.
That reminded me, I just pre-ordered Iced. Have you seen Iced?
I have not, but I pre-ordered it as well.
Yes, hell yeah. Okay, great. I'm so
Hell yeah.
excited about that.
Unfortunately, it's like that's one that like people have been asking for a long time,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, I think TerraVision had maybe tracked down potentially the film elements. I hope I'm not saying this wrong, but I think they might have been able to do it, but they didn't realize that Vinegar Syndrome had picked up the rights
hmm
and they released it, but they couldn't find the film elements. So I'm really crossing my fingers on how it all looks. But I think Vinegar Syndrome does a great job with the
yeah,
restoration. So even
yeah.
though it's going to be off of a video source, I think it'll still look good. I think I've heard some people that are nervous about that, but as a guy who grew up on VHS,
Same.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I think it'll be okay.
it's cozy as hell to me.
Yeah,
Perfect.
totally.
Number 5, Nail Gun Massacre from TerraVision. They do excellent work over there. Thank you for including them in your top 5. Lindsay, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is Basket Case 2, Frank Henenlotter.
Hell yes.
Yes, yes.
Beale is great. I mean, I love a good creature. And the fact that they kind of take this really kind of sleazy grindhouse hotel kind of disgusting kind of thing and then turned it into almost like a family comedy. Like
hmm
it's kind of like Freaks from 1932. I adore. I love the fact that Beale gets his own love story. And the sex scene is like I should expect stuff like this when I'm watching these movies. I mean, I love Frank Henenlotter. I know it's going to be weird and something sexual, and when it happens, I wasn't quite ready for it. But no, this movie is just I just smiled. It's just kind of the creature exploitation movie I love. So
Yeah. I love the Basket Case movies. They're fantastic.
Same.
I mean, yeah, no, yeah, great pick. That's all I
yeah,
can say.
Yeah.
I finally because I keep watching number one and I finally watched number two and went, okay, this is what I'm missing from my life. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I got
they're great movies.
I got a set of all 3, and so I was like, I've never watched them in succession, and so just 2 nights, it was all Basket Case, and I loved it. I had such a great time. I'm such a Henenlotter head that, like,
Oh
man,
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
really cool to see what he does, and it's so bizarre and weird and so fun. So fantastic. We've already got 2 top-notch discoveries here on the list. My next one is inspired by last year. Ryan and I had a lot of fun discovering the work of a certain man who is not the director of this film, but he is the DP, and that man is Richard Pepin. And the film is CIA Codename Alexa from 1992, directed by Joseph Mary. It stars Lorenzo Lamas and O.J. Simpson.
oh wow,
It's the
wow.
synopsis is terrorist Alexa could be useful to the CIA, Lorenzo Lamas, but she's in the custody of the LAPD, O.J. Simpson. This movie, so it's a wild action movie with the
So
PM
wait, when was this released? 92.
92. So
Oh God. Okay.
yeah, so it's a wild action movie with PM Entertainment zaniness. It has terrible reviews, but I think this would be a blast to watch with friends because the choices in it are so wild. Some of the acting is very original. Pepin knows how to frame shots. We know this, and he knows how to blow stuff up. And so this movie
Yep.
has explosions, tons of gun stuff going on. It's backlit with blue light in a way of so much excess that it just doesn't make sense why things are so dark in places. There's futuristic go-karts. There's rich people making 2 people fight to the death just on their lawn, where you're like, oh, we didn't have a set for this, just on the lawn. There's a surgery scene that happens next to a pool. Never discussed why they're doing surgery next to a pool. Just that's where
Oh,
it was.
oh
And
man.
I thought I wouldn't have another movie that involved Richard Pepin this year, and I was kind of bummed listening back to last year's discoveries. And this one crept out of nowhere, and God, the just like when I see a bad review for a movie like this, I think that maybe you don't understand the visual language that you get from these types of films because just there's a shootout in a church that's so over the top. It just doesn't make sense. The fact that people get shot and fall forward slowly off buildings over and over and over, it's just so much joy to be found in this movie. And then I discovered that Kathleen Kinmont, who's the Alexa, was married to Lorenzo Lamas at the
Yep.
time. And then his only directorial film is the sequel to this movie.
Hmm.
I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And people think he doesn't bring a lot to the movie, but there's something about his sort of presence that really works in this film. I don't know, man. CIA codename Alexa was such a fun time.
I don't know. I think sometimes people want like logic in their movies, or they want things kind of explained. And I think that's not the whole point of watching movies. Like I was watching something
Oh.
listening to something about the substance, which they were loving, but like, yeah, I wish they explained it more. I'm like, what do you need to explain? The substance is like a HelloFresh style kit delivery system,
Hmm.
and it just tells you the bare minimum you need to know. You are one, activate once, and that's all you need to know. You are one. I
Yeah.
don't quite know what else
I
you
don't
need.
even know why people needed Alexa in the movie, but they sure did. And
Yeah.
she was a terrorist, but then she was working with them, and like I don't know the plot
Wait,
points, but
is this where Amazon got Alexa from?
yes, yes,
Yes, this very movie.
Yes.
yeah. I'm always like Alexa, CIA codename. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
I believe this is on Tubi for people that want to watch it. I believe
Oh
because
no, I rented it on Amazon and I paid $1.99. I don't know who that goes to, but I'm hoping it's Lorenzo.
I put it on it's in my queue somewhere. So
Cool.
because I went down, this is not on my list, but I watched Night of the Warrior and it was nearly on my Discovery list, which is not directed though by Pepin, and I'm sure this is why I was so excited. But I started trying to find all the Lorenzo Lamas, Kathleen Kinmont
Yes.
movies, which they
Yeah.
made several,
Yep.
and she's in Night of the Warrior as well. It's actually directed by Rafal Zelinsky, who directed Screwballs for New World Pictures
Oof.
and State Park and a bunch of other just Night of the Warrior was crazy. But what I did get to do was then I went to a convention here in town and met Ken Faree,
Yes.
and he was in Night of the Warrior, and I got to chat with him about it. And working with Lorenzo Lamas, just one of the greatest moments of my life.
It would
I was
be.
like, I guarantee no one else asked him about Night of the
Oh,
Warrior that day,
yeah,
or
no.
in a long time.
He's like, wait, what? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your number 4?
My number 4. Oh, okay. You guys know me. You know that I love the spaghetti westerns. I
Mm-hmm.
can't get enough.
Mm-mm.
So this is one that I've seen a couple times. I love the way this is shot. It's got a bunch of great people in it. I'm talking The Unholy Four.
Ooh.
This is from Enzo Barboni. It also has, you bet, George Eastman,
Hell yeah.
aka Luigi Montefiore.
Oh, look, I got
Also has Woody Strode. Oh yeah, 2020 Texas Gladiator shirt on. I didn't
yeah.
even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've really just dug this one. To me, this is a real strong spaghetti western. Also has a score from Riz Orlotani, who, if you know the Italian movies, he always brings the heat. He did Day of Anger as well, and but also did a lot of like other non-westerns as well. It's I go through the plot, but look, if you are into spaghetti westerns, you either know
The
this
plot
or
does not matter.
you want to get into it, and you should. I watched it a couple times because it just absolutely adored some of the sequences and how they shot it.
Nice.
When I see a spaghetti western that is good action wise, acting wise, great, but also like impresses me with the way it was shot, I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to get the word out about the Unholy Four. This is the Kino Lorber Blu-ray, but I think they are out of print at this point. But track it down wherever you can, and check it out. Unholy Four.
Perfect.
On the list.
Lindsay, what is your 4?
Well, of course, I have to go Italian at some stage because it's me, but I am going to go for The Mill of the Stone Woman from 1960.
Nice.
I'm not even going to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to butcher it. This is really good. This was a surprise. I've been meaning to watch it for a while. Arrow does have a really cool Blu-ray, so it's a thing you can find around and everything like that. Yes, we've seen this plot before. A guy taking live models to make art out of them after killing them. But because it's Italian, there's a weird pseudo-sexual thing to it. And the fact that it's set in Holland, so they had to set the whole thing in a windmill that has a carousel in it, which is like, when you read the synopsis of that, you're like, but why? And then you watch it and you're like, well, that's just the coolest thing ever.
Oh my
This movie's
God.
really
yeah.
great. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I think Arrow has a Blu-ray of this.
Yeah, Arrow does have a Blu-ray, yeah.
And I have eyed it many times, but I have to get this. That sounds amazing. I love that your plot synopsis is like this old one. We've seen this one a million times.
House of Wax.
But you're not right, right. You're totally not. You're not wrong at all. But I just love that. Yeah, that was just hilarious. But
I love
yeah,
how that's a plot point.
yeah, I got to check this out. That is, I've been eyeing that for a while. So
Just for anyone that's looking for the Unholy Four, the Kino, if they're sold out, you can find a copy on eBay. There was two, but I just bought one.
yes,
I hope my wife's not
yes.
listening to this.
Well, I hope you enjoy it because I really thought it was a lot of fun.
I always say I'm not a Western fan, but you've opened my eyes to a number of Westerns, and usually if you find something that's worthwhile in one, then it's definitely worthwhile for me. So
I got you to get the Sartana set, and
dude,
that
I love
makes me
it.
so happy. And
I love it.
The
so much.
Sartana set is so worth it.
It's
I love it so
so
much.
good.
And I think it's a must. I don't think there's a bad film in the bunch. I really enjoy it. There's ones I enjoy more than others, but boy, I could watch any of those 5 at any time. So good.
Absolutely.
Love that series.
My number 4, not something people would probably want to watch all the time, but it's The Hidden Two from 1993.
Oh my God, yes.
I'd never seen this, and I saw that there was. I have The Hidden, of course. Love The Hidden. Kyle MacLachlan.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Fantastic.
they've done a sequel to The Hidden?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit, I did not know this.
I never saw it, and then there was an eBay DVD that had Hidden and Hidden 2, and I was like, well, who cares that I own The Hidden on Blu-ray and DVD? I'm buying The Hidden and Hidden 2 on DVD. And I put this thing in, and what a fascinating monstrosity of a movie. They
Yeah,
take
it's wild.
part of the first one to start the second one, which is why I say monstrosity. Anytime movies do this Frankensteining of like, no, look, you guys remember Kyle MacLachlan? I was like, this is a lot of screen time of him. So anyway, an alien helps a detective's daughter hunt another alien that implants itself in human hosts. The reason it's on this, though, is because there's a part where they scout a rave in a factory. They're like, this is a great spot. It's just a condemned factory. I was like, this is not a great spot. It's full of dangerous machinery, for one. I mean, it's totally crazy that rave is at the heart of The Hidden Two.
Oh my God.
There's so many wild swings in it. There's crazy goopy creature effects that, like, I mean, it's ambitious for what they're doing. I don't know if it's The Hidden. It's more like,
right. The
here they
plot
are.
doesn't sound like The Hidden,
but like, it's so bizarre, and I can't believe I hadn't seen it. And it's just like, I had so much fun watching it and being like, okay, despite how you've stitched this into being The Hidden, it sort of has the body swapping, but also there's so many goopy creatures that, like, I don't know. It's really fun to see something from 1993 like this now, and not knowing that it had existed for so long. I had the best time. So The Hidden Two, it's on a double DVD. It's not on Blu-ray. I don't know, but check it out.
I did not know this existed, and now I'm going to try track down and watch it because, yeah.
I'm on eBay right now, but I have seen The Hidden Two. I saw it back in the day, but I mean, at the time, knowing how much I had liked The Hidden, so this is the 90s. So once I remember, just I don't remember what the movie that well, but I do remember my response was like, "Boo!
Yeah.
Do not like
It is,
because it wasn't The Hidden again."
It's
But
not.
I think there's going to be a totally what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm going to have much more appreciation for this now than I did at the time.
It's one of those sequels that you just go, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? But it's fascinating in a way, not in a way that you're like, mad or anything, because you're so detached from it. And it's so not The Hidden, despite putting footage from The Hidden in it, that you're just like, okay, I guess. But we're at this rave a lot in this factory.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a very great comparison probably, but I had the same feeling about The Fly 2, which I saw like on video back in the day. And I was like, but it was on VHS. So I'm seeing not the whole thing.
I get what
but
you're
now
saying.
I like The Fly too.
I got the whole Fly set and I rewatched it and I was like, oh, The Fly 2 is fucking amazing.
Yes.
Like,
is it
the
The
film
Fly
is
one? No, but
so
it's
good.
Yeah.
There's a nostalgia for low budget kind of sequels that I don't know if The Fly 2 wasn't a directed VHS, was it?
No, it played theaters.
It played theaters, but I'm guessing The Hidden 2 definitely was a directed VHS.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That there's nostalgia for that because they don't like, especially in the early 90s, because they just don't do that anymore. I mean, I think Film Moon's kind of the only one that kind of flies that flag of that
That
kind
was
of
their
thing.
whole
So yeah,
business model, yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think like the effects and stuff that are in it are so great, and like we just had all that going all the time that I didn't have
Sure.
appreciation for it at the time, which, I'm kicking my old self, but it's a great movie. So I'm hoping The Hidden will at least have some of that.
Yeah, The Hidden 2 is just like The Fly.
I mean, The Fly too.
Okay.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
Hidden 2 will be a little bit like
Ooh,
the Hidden 2.
it's let's just lower that a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's a little. I said like a little. I know
Okay.
it's not this a
All
great
right, all right.
comparison, but
Okay.
I'm just saying I'm hoping the time I will look at it and go, oh, there's some fun stuff
You'll
in here.
definitely
But
find it like the choices just be like, "Whoa, okay. That's yeah, okay." All right. That brings us to Ryan's number 3.
number
Ryan, what do
three,
you got?
okay, I wanted to have something funny in here. And this one I really was charmed by. I'd had this Blu-ray for a long time. I finally pressed play. I had a really good time with Heavy Trip.
ooh,
Have
Oh,
you guys
not
seen Heavy Trip?
so this is the
no,
not heavier trip. This is the first one.
This is the first one.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Heavy Trip.
Super fun.
Super fun movie. I did see the sequel as well, which was not as fun. A little bit sillier. This one is a little bit more grounded. It's a little bit more about their ascent of trying to be this death metal band
Mhm.
in Finland, and just being in a band in high school and stuff, and just everybody wanting to dream in the way that those can fall apart. And there's some Spinal Tap vibes in this too. Is definitely a bit of that. So, but I just was super charmed by all the people in it. It got me really excited then to watch Heavier Trip, which I watched right afterwards and was like, hooray! And then was a little like, oh, it's not quite as good. It just goes for a lot more of the silly.
Yeah.
This one has a little bit more heart to it, and a
Mhm.
little bit more like you're really on their ride because they just want to like perform, and it's so hard for them to perform, especially the lead singer. And yeah, just had a blast. I think this is a super fun movie, and if you haven't watched it, check out Heavy Trip.
Who
Nice and short,
who put
comedy. Got to do some subtitles, but other than that,
who put that out?
this is from Doppelganger.
okay.
I got this on the Vinegar Syndrome website, so I think that's a part. It's one of their partner
Okay.
labels.
Perfect. Lindsay, what's your 3?
My 3, I am gonna go for, well, I guess since there's 4 movies in this Mexico arrow set, I think I'm gonna next year will be the last one. But I am gonna go for Brainiac, 1962 by Channel Eureka. Any movie that starts with the Spanish Inquisition, I am all for, as you already know. So the fact that it starts with the Spanish Inquisition in Mexico, executing this guy for witchcraft, turns where there's a comet flying over, so he's a half demon, half alien. Not 100% sure. Anyway, he's a creature that will eat, who will make out with you and suck out your brain.
Been there.
And he is coming back reincarnated like 300 years later, and he is going for the ancestors of the people who executed him. And I love it. He keeps his brains in like this massive silver jug that he just like occasionally will just go out and nibble on with like a silver thing, put it down, and will just go and murder everyone. And it is really fun. The effects are so stupid. It's got a really long tongue, and he'll just like stick it in people's mouths. It's amazing.
Oh, reminds me of college. Huh? All right.
Yeah. It's really, really fun. And because that Mexican is downstairs, but that Mexican indicator, sorry, set, not arrow, set is incredible.
Yeah, Indicator's been doing a lot of like Mexican movies and stuff. I got
Yes. Batwoman and
Batwoman, and I got, what is it, the Panther.
yeah, they're doing a few Santos movies as well. And yeah,
Yeah, they're
it's
both in that vein of like Mexican wrestling movies and stuff
yeah.
like that. Very interesting stuff. And but this one looks really cool. The poster
Yeah,
alone for the Brainiac looks awesome.
yeah.
By the way,
It's a part of the Gothic set, and it's oh so good.
oh yeah. By the way, Heavy Trip is released by Music Box Selects on
Oh,
the Vinegar Syndrome website. It does say Doppelganger on the disc and on the slipcover here, but slipcover's gone, but you can still get the regular movie at Vinegar Syndrome under Music Box Selects.
There you go. My number 3 is Typhoon Club from 1986, directed by Shinji Somai.
yeah.
A group of junior high school students in a small town experiencing a summer slump with an impending typhoon, stranded in their school overnight amid a raging storm. The youngsters awaken to a world either ruined or reborn. This is out by Third Window Films. It is a film that I'd heard a lot about, and I just was like, oh, I don't know, I'll watch it sometime. It's not like some of the more genre cinema that I seek out from Japan. So I was just not going to press play, but I love Third Window, and I had a couple things in there, and their director's company selections have really been winning me over. So I put it in the Blu-ray player, and it just blew me away. It was fascinating. These kids are all trapped in this building. There is a sexual threat, is why it's rated 18. So there is a little bit of assault type of situation there. It's not super graphic, but it is unpleasant for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a quote on the back from Ryusuke Hamaguchi, the director of Drive My Car, which you heard about in our last episode. He says it's a unique film from an incredibly unique director playing a key role in the history of Japanese cinema. So this is something that I would have not ever pressed play on, and I'm so thankful that I did. My wife came in and was watching this with me, which made me really uncomfortable because I was like, this isn't why I'm watching it. Because it was at a pinnacle point in the film where things get pretty tense. And I was like, it's like when your parents walk through the room when you're watching a movie where there's like, a sex scene or something when you're a kid and you're like,
It's like,
hey, there's other things in RoboCop. It's like, I don't know.
Yep.
That's what I
So
show.
it's like every time my partner walks in on a movie I'm watching that's screwed up, he'll just go, Italian? I'll go, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Erica walks in literally in any movie that I'm watching. If it has some sort of sex in it, that's the moment she'll walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she'll walk in and go, oh, what you watching? And I'm like, it's just one scene in the whole film. I'm exactly had this experience. I did this just happened with Anora.
I just shout.
Yeah. To be fair, Anora does have a lot of
a lot
nudity in it, even if it's not really about sex, if that makes sense.
Plenty of sex scenes to potentially walk in on that one, but yes, she just walked in and was like, okay, and I was like, but it's there's a whole story anyway.
Just a fanboy on Hamaguchi anymore. He has really good taste in movies. There's an amazing interview he's doing with Kayoshi Kurosawa, who was his teacher, and he's like gushing over Cure, and he's like, so why did you do this one scene and like this? It's amazing. And Kurosawa goes, because it looked cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's his vibe.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime my wife walks in a moment like that, I just say, there's other things in RoboCop. And then she's like, this isn't RoboCop. And then I just run out of the room.
You know what I mean? I don't. I just told you I didn't know what you meant.
She's like, where are you going? And then that is Typhoon Club. So there we are. Third Window films on the list.
I've looked at that very disc.
It's not for everybody, but it's like it's that drama aspect of something that you're like, I'm not going to press play, but it's such a well-made film that once you're in it, you're like, yeah, I could be watching The Hidden too, but like, this is really good. And
but I will watch The Hidden too after I watch this.
Yes. And I am holding the DVD ready to put it in the
Yes.
I mean, Third Window is such a great company, and they put out such
really
good stuff. But I also like a lot of it. I just don't know, and so when I buy from them, I'm buying a bunch of stuff that I'm like, okay, let's roll the dice. But
I haven't pulled the trigger on Third Window, but I need to, because some of this stuff looks amazing. But
they work with Tom Mess a lot, and he does a lot of great audio commentary. I think he really knows what he's talking about. And I almost blind buy everything that Third Window puts out, and I have not come across one that I'm like, wow, I wish I could have just streamed this. Like, it's always like, I'm glad I own it. I'm excited to dive into it and read the essays or hear what people talk about. This one even has an introduction from Ryusuke Hamaguchi, so it's just like, that's awesome. I'm here for it all day.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your number 2?
Going back to the 90s, there's a lot of action stars that we had, particularly with the resurgence the surge of video stores. Resurgence. We got into it in the 80s, then we took a break, and then in the 90s we got back into it. That meant there was a lot of video stars that are action stars that went straight to video. I didn't always get into every single one, so I'm catching up now on Jeff Speakman.
Talking
about The Perfect Weapon.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've never seen a better action scene of a guy kicking another dude with jeans on.
Oh my gosh.
I love his style that is like, how fast can we kick and punch?
Yeah. And his whole thing was the
opening
sticks.
scene, like the opening scene when he's just like I'm just like, I could watch this for like another 10 minutes.
Oh, greased up, just in his fake set apartment, just like doing a routine. I was like, Yeah, sold. I'm in.
Yeah.
Like I've watched this disc. This is the Kino Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have it too.
I've listened
Ah,
to the commentary. I have loved this, and I've started to like go through other Jeff
Yes.
Speakman movies, and like it's great. It's such a great path I've been going down, and I'm just this is not unlike your Lorenzo Lamas, which I'm also trying to do,
Yeah.
who's also very active in the '90s, but there's something about Jeff Speakman.
Oh,
This is just a blast and a really
isn't
good action film, really. I mean,
no,
honestly.
no, that's really good. Isn't it? Doesn't he do like a very specific form of martial arts? Because
Yes,
they have
yes.
to keep explaining what it is
Yeah,
from memory. I haven't seen it in
right.
a few years.
Yeah, it's a very specific form that is about speed of punching,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's and I'm like, I don't know, I don't understand it exactly, but I love it and it's great to watch. And again, it's something you can do in jeans, which I think is really a selling point for me. But I just adored this movie. I totally blind bought this Blu-ray, and I'm so glad I did because I was like, I was hoping this would, you know, be what it was essentially, and it 100% was and more. And super glad I got it.
yeah. He does Kenpo karate is the type of karate that he does.
That's it.
That's it.
Yes.
And I saw that in the theater.
Oh wow,
That's amazing. Yeah, because this is like it's a I was about to say Paramount.
Yeah.
It's a Paramount
Yeah,
Pictures
I
release.
remember going to the theater. It was in the mall, and the poster was that exact image. I think that's the only image that's ever existed for the movie. We also had the posters and VHS tapes at our store, and I remember sitting in the audience and being like, "Oh, this guy's like our new Steven Seagal guy. Okay, cool. This is our new action guy," because I'd never heard of him before.
Yeah.
Until that movie came out. And then I remember watching the other movies and being like, they sure are good at finding reasons for him to break a stick and have two sticks. Because, like, that's his whole thing. And, like, in the
Yeah.
other films, they keep, yeah, sure, pool cue. Yep, that's one. A mop. Okay, that's another.
Right.
Like,
so it's like the Van Damme splits. It's like no matter
Yeah.
what situation he's in, he's gonna find a way to do the split. So Jeff Speakman's breaking
He's got
something
those
in half.
sticks.
Okay, cool.
And,
Yeah, good call. Good call.
it's,
Yeah,
he's a hoot.
the only nervous part, and I haven't watched too many other of the ones. I started one, then I was like, I got to hold off for my Thursday night movie group where we watched some crazy cinema. And but I was like, I may have started at the top of the mountain because they talk about how like Paramount is like they gave them a bunch of money and they like had a ridiculous amount of budget for this particular movie, and I think everything from there
Absolutely
falls off. So I'm like, that's the only bummer.
Yeah.
Is that there's not going to be as many peaks and valleys at this point. We're going to be a little bit more in the valley range, but I'm still going to go through them.
It's still fun. It's like I was just watching the Cyborg Cop, and
which I watched the first one because under your recommendation, and I had a blast.
Thank you. There's some actors that pop up in these films that they just keep popping up because Sam Furstenberg's directing another movie or whatever, and you're like, this is the person's signature thing, and you know they don't have a ton of money, but they're still like giving it their all. And I was just like, yeah, man, I'll just watch them all. I don't care. I love this.
It's so Sam Furstenberg, Cyborg Cop. It really is like he just doesn't have as much money.
No,
you know,
you should wait till you get to 2. Okay, so my number 2 is Celia, Child of Terror from 1989. I didn't know if you'd seen this one, Lindsay. It's an Australian horror drama.
It's amazing.
It's it's written and directed by Ann Turner, starring Rebecca Smart, Nicholas Eady, and Victoria Longley. The synopsis is 1950s Australia. Young Celia is growing up with a sense of isolation and mistrust of the world that surrounds her. Her mother and father won't let her play with other kids next door because they think they're communists. Her pet bunny is taken away because of a rabbit overpopulation. And her grandmother dies, and she's the one to find the corpse. It's a kinder trauma film that I found way deep in the Reddit hole of kinder trauma movies, trying to find something to subject Ryan to. I came across this and watched it, and I was like, "This is unbelievable! I love it." There's a kid's story that has to do with these goblin creatures that like lurk around, and you see stuff from her point of view, and then there's a mask involved, and the bunny stuff is horrific. Like
it's all about the rabbits. No, that actually happened in especially Victoria, New South Wales. There was a massive rabbit cull, and you couldn't even own a rabbit. Like, and then she ties it to communism or witchcraft. I'm just like going, wow. I thought this was just gonna be a kinder trauma thing, but No, apparently a lot of Australian
Mm.
kids did grow up with this movie. It's quite surprising. Like, oh yeah, I remember watching that on VHS. I'm like, wow, because it's a really deep movie. There's a
Yeah.
lot going on. There's
Wow.
affairs and marital breakups and
Yes, it's super dark. The girl is on the cover with a rifle, which you don't
yeah.
usually see children
I don't
with
think I remember her
guns.
seeing her with a rifle, but yeah,
It's
it's
so crazy looking. Yeah, I put
Jeez,
it
I
in.
haven't never even heard of this one.
Yeah, I
it's in
mean,
the All of Us. What is that massive folk horror
Oh,
thing that
all the
Severin put
Hauntsby
out?
Hours.
It's in the All Hornsby Hours set. Yeah.
Dirk is pulling it off the shelves. Did he get it from
Yes.
Umbrella? Or no,
You
he got
got
a
this
DVD.
is the
you go.
DVD from
Oh,
Scorpion.
yeah. I'm pretty
This
sure you
is
can also
also
get it
in one of those
Umbrella and
sets that I
Severin.
have.
Yeah. Oh yes, I see it there.
It's in one of those. Oh, I gotta get into those sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What it's from Katarina's Nightmare Theater is who put this.
Yes.
It's fitting.
Amazing.
This-
That sounds amazing.
it's-
It's on Tubi, so I put it on my Tubi watch list. But
Yeah, people said on the back I got a quote from New York Times saying transfixing, assured, extremely lucid, recalls the deceptive serenity of Blue Velvet.
Okay, not quite that far. but
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
people, if you're looking for something that's bewildering and nightmarish, Celia,
it's-
Child of Terror.
no,
Celia, wow.
I'd highly recommend it. It is a very good movie.
Yeah, it's also really well made, but it is unbelievable. Like as I was watching it, I was just like, this is doing so much. This is wild.
No, you can watch it on a kinder trauma level of these kids kind of making up these stories and demons and everything like that. And you can also watch it as a period drama of Australia and kind of the sexual gender and rabbit politics of the time. It's it's kind of
Which
insane.
it's the only type of politics I like is rabbit politics.
Exactly, rabbit politics. Yeah.
It makes me happy. Okay, Lindsay, what's your number 2?
I was going to go for Godzilla versus Mothra 1992.
Oh,
Takeo
nice.
Okawara. Doing a multi pronunciation of that name. Yeah, Mothra gets a boyfriend and Godzilla's not happy. That's not the plot of the movie, but that's how I read the movie. Because you've got Batra, who's another moth. Is he? He looks like Mothra. Yeah, Mothra slams a Ferris wheel in Godzilla's face. And there's a divorce plot with humans, but with these movies, it's all about the monsters and Mothra rules.
Wow. This looks good.
Yeah, it's really good.
You haven't seen that one, Ryan?
No.
Don't you
I
own
haven't.
all the Godzilla movies ever?
They're not all of them. They're
Oh.
they're the first era.
Gotcha.
With the Showa era, that's the set that I got, which is from the Criterion set.
Yeah.
Which is up there. You can see it
Whoa.
there in the corner.
Yep.
It is a big boy, that one.
The very, very tall guy. And
The
so
Godzilla.
I don't think it'll have the 90s. I don't think it goes from the 60s to, I don't even know if it goes to the 80s. So
I found these DVD sets that I had. Some were the later era Showa, and the others were the Heisei, which I think is the 90s, late
Yeah,
80s,
the
90s
Heisei.
era. And Heisei, thank you. And that's where I saw Godzilla versus Mothra. And I'm sitting there just like going, oh man, I did not know the 90s era was this good. It's a lot more poppy, I would say, in a very 90s compared to what the 60s are. 60s, the Showa era still has my heart, but yeah, this is a really fun movie. It's like they do this thing where they introduce this character. She's like, oh, excuse me, I'm a reporter. And he goes, a lady reporter? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we're still doing that. Cool.
in the 90s.
Wow.
In the 90s.
In the 90s, it's like, okay.
Oh my
They'll
god.
just let anyone do this job.
I know.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the plot is Mothra gets a boyfriend and Godzilla is very jealous. Because as
I love
Mike
it.
Scott likes to say, Godzilla wants to fuck that moth. And this is pretty true.
It is like when you watch a bad Godzilla movie, it's rough. But when you watch a good
Yeah.
Godzilla movie, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Even the
So
bad
fun.
ones, I will still find something that I can kind of grasp onto. And it's usually in the last 15 minutes when there's the fight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's always a
um,
good time.
Yeah, but you have to get through 90 minutes to get to the fight. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh God, why are these people still talking? Get me the
Yeah.
monsters.
All right. Ryan, what is your number 1?
My number one, I gotta give some credit here because I was telling Dirk I don't listen to a lot of top movies of the year lists until we have finished ours. But I listened to the Pure Cinema podcast, and Brian Sauer mentioned a movie on his list called Lousy Carter, which is one that I had on my radar, and I had not watched it yet. So I watched it, and I was immediately like, "Who the hell is this filmmaker?" And Lousy Carter, if you don't know, it's basically about a guy who is he's a adjunct professor at a college. He teaches a course on the Great Gatsby, and he gets told that he only has 6 months to live. And I was like, who is this filmmaker? It's a comedy. David Krumholtz plays the main character. He's terrific in it. This is not the movie though. Let me get to it. It's only 80 minutes long. And I saw this guy had other movies, so I watched another one called Francis Ferguson, which is terrific, which is about a teacher who has an affair with a young student and gets busted for it, and she does not give two shits, and it's so funny, which is crazy to say. He uses a lot of the same kind of cast members, and the whole thing is narrated by Nick Offerman, who was
Oh,
another one of
wow.
his movies. But the one I'm going to highlight, the guy, by the way, the director's name is Bob Byington. But the one I'm going to highlight, I just got this DVD today, is Seven Chinese Brothers, and which is the title of an REM song, which shows up at the end. No spoiler, but they actually play it. And I was like, good for REM giving them the rights. But this one has Jason Schwartzman, and he has a job at Buca de Beppo, and they catch him drinking, and they let him go. And so he gets a job at like an oil change place, and he kind of falls for the lead girl. The plots of these movies are not even all that much. This is very much in that 90s kind of indie vibe. He has definitely a Hal Hartley kind of feel to
Mm.
him, and I'm a huge Hal Hartley guy. This one I felt like the most, Seven Chinese Brothers, that is one where I felt like, oh, Jason Schwartzman's character, who basically doesn't give a shit about anything, just kind of drinks through the whole thing, has a dog. It's probably the only thing he cares about. Maybe this girl. And his mom. His mom is actually played by the late Olympia Dukakis. And it's just his scripts are so funny. They're so good. I just kind of started watching literally everything he's done. And I just was like, who is this guy? Why have I never heard of Bob Byington until now? And I haven't had a bad experience yet. So to me, it became a discovery because I just started watching all of his movies and I just got super into it. And I was like, I can't believe I discovered some other guy making these little indie movies. They're super funny and they're about stuff, and they're all like an hour, 15 minutes.
Hmm.
Like they're super short. They're like, if you don't like them, they're not going to burn a lot of your time. But I found them very, very funny. His scripts are great. He has a very good job of like tapping into characters that kind of don't give a shit about a lot of things.
Hmm.
I mean this in no denigration, but he's very much a Gen X kind of director, Bob Byington. And I say no offense to him by it because as a Gen Xer myself, we don't give a shit about the generations. So,
Nope.
so like it would seem like an insult, but he taps into that kind of feeling of just, sort of having that sort of like in Lousy Carter, he wants to make this movie. So having only 6 months to live, he decides to do this movie project that he's never got off the ground. So he starts to do it as I believe he's trying to do an adaptation of Tolstoy. So and he starts talking to a student about it. So there's a little bit of like just that kind of Gen X sort of, I had this stuff I was going to do and then I kind of lost my way. And it has a lot of those elements to it. I just love his stuff. I'm just in love with this guy. And I just got this DVD because it actually has some extra features. And I got another one that's on the way as well. Another one of his movies. It's got a bigger performance from Nick Offerman, but just really enjoy this guy a whole lot. And I cannot recommend his stuff enough.
His
Okay.
casts look insane. I mean, Karen Culkin pops up, Stephen Root, Martin Starr. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna need to check this guy out.
Yeah, Martin Starr is also in Lousy Carter, and Stephen Root plays Lousy Carter's psychiatrist. And Martin Starr in Lousy Carter it plays his best friend, and he is so good. And just it has one of those things where like the dialogue is so good, but it has this unique rhythm that's just kind of like his own.
Hmm.
And there's a way that they sort of talk that is doesn't sound unrealistic, but is like a very like it's very economic and very quick and very like has that great pace to it, which is why his movies are probably like 70 to 80 minutes long. Yeah, just a guy that I just couldn't believe that there was this kind of flavor of things anymore because it felt like what a throwback to the 90s indie era. I think he became like it got somewhere because somebody released this movie he made called Tuna, which he had made with an actor he also puts in other films, Kevin Corrigan, who also like produced another one of his movies. But I guess he had this movie for a while and he'd made it. and it never released it or never got out, and then they suddenly put it on YouTube and things kind of blew up, and then so but he's still working this day because Lousy Carter just came out. So I'm really excited to see whatever he does.
Okay.
Can't recommend it high enough.
So Seven Chinese Brothers was the pick?
Seven Chinese Brothers is the title that I landed on, yes. But
Gotcha.
Francis Ferguson is also just, I mean, I love all three of the movies. So, but
Okay.
Seven Chinese Brothers is one that I felt like, boy, if I didn't have my responsibilities, that would I have gone that road of this guy, of Jason Schwartzman in this movie? I may have. I may have done. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay. Lindsay, what's your number one?
My number one is Reefer Madness, the movie musical from Andy Finkman. This
Amazing
thing rules. I have been listening to the goddamn soundtrack all goddamn year. Little Miss Sunshine, this is a banger. I mean, of course, this starts Kirsten Scott, Christian Campbell, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. Yeah, it's essentially a piss take of the 1936 or whatever hygiene movie, Brief Madness, which is disappointingly boring because when you watch that movie, you're like, I should not be bored by this movie.
Yeah.
But you are. And then you watch this one, and then you have Alan Rickman coming out singing Reefer Madness. And I have never seen a movie better display white rage, and then everyone has to go and hide about kind of the propaganda of this movie rules. And look, if I could have seen this in an LA kind of stage, because I know this was an LA stage production more than anything else, yeah, this would have ruled, and the movie rules. And yes, I know it's a TV movie, but I love it.
Oh, the great TV movies. Nev Campbell is in this cast. What a cast! Alan Cumming.
Yeah, the cast is insane. Yeah, Alan Cumming's amazing in this. Yeah,
this looks rad.
It's really funny as well. There's a whole song called Romeo and Juliet where the two young innocent lambs to the slaughter, when they start smoking marijuana, they're singing about how they're going to be Romeo and Juliet, but they don't know the ending. Like, so they just assume they're going to get married and have many children. There's an amazing song with Jesus. Listen to Jesus Jimmy, which has the most amazing Jesus puns in there. It's generally really, really funny. Yeah, they tell the true thing when everyone just, oh my, you just have to watch it. It is absolutely fantastic. I can't believe this thing got made.
That's Reefer Madness, the musical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Similar vein is my number one, which I don't know why everyone laughs. If I was going off movies that I did cover in the podcast, this could have been Hawk Jones. This could have been Lilac Ball. I mean, this year there's been some absolute treats, but they've been discussed. But what hasn't been discussed, Lilac Ball right there. What hasn't been discussed is my number one pick, which is No Resistance from 1994. Released by Saturn's Core on Blu-ray. It's an SOV, or shot on video, movie from 1994. Shot guerrilla style on the streets of Houston in 1992. Grindhouse releasing is where I got this. No Resistance is the brainchild of Lunatic Fringe Productions, a Texas-based film collective spearheaded by the director Tim Thompson and his writers and acting partners David Rains and Irving Cutter. The reason I bought this is because the soundtrack is by the band The Pain Teens, which are an experimental rock noise band from Houston in the 80s, 90s. Bliss Blood from the band is in the movie. She's one of the actors. I love the Pain Teens and first discovered them because they were on Trance Syndicate, which is a label that King Coffee of the Butthole Surfers ran. And
of course.
Yep.
As you do.
Yeah, if any of that makes sense to people. Sounds like just a bunch of weird words strung together, like my life. But that label was home to the Cherubs, which is a really good band. Check that out if you like LSD bunk bands. Their album Icing, I think is 30th anniversary or just had that. Anyway, I'm getting distracted because I love the paintings. So it's got this super 90s VHS quality. So visually, Dirk, growing up in the video store, watching so many movies on crappy televisions and VCRs, this feels so comforting to me. Then it's a cyberpunk movie, so they have dialogue and quotes, but super lo-fi technology. So I'm like, I love all of this stuff. The guy that's the lead with the pink hair is kind of just a dirtbag. He's got an army jacket, but it also wears a vest, but no shirt underneath it. It's just things where you're like, this seems strange. And then the soundtrack is exactly what I was into in the 90s. If I wasn't listening to industrial, I was buying these albums off of labels that I was randomly finding at punk stores like Green Noise in Eugene. And the paintings sort of brought me into what was happening in Houston at the time, which was like a lot of really weird rock bands with like punk and I wouldn't even say metal, but like these ambitious, crazy rock energies to them. And I didn't know what these types of music were or who these bands were. It's how I discovered Steel Pole Bathtub that led me to CC Nova. Are people still listening to this? And Milk Cult. All of these things, I just was like, I love all this stuff. This movie led me to find a missing album from a band called Milk Cult. I reached out to the bass player, who is now a graphic designer, and he told me it came out in Japan, never released anywhere else, instantly went out of print in 1995. And he sent me the MP3 files. So this year I got to hear a missing album of a musical group that I really like. Because of that, I did pay him for it. He did not say how much, but I paid him. And yeah, so that's all because of them releasing
Here's
this film.
$3, good sir.
Yes,
Thank you
here
for the
you
record.
are. This is what I would pay in the used bin. No, I paid him what I would have paid on eBay. So
I know, I'm just messing with you.
yeah, but
I'm just like going, oh, this is going to be great. And you just go, here you go, sir.
Yeah.
$3 bills.
there you go. This is a coupon for a hug. So, and I'll wash your car. Hello.
Redeemable anytime.
Yes, except for January through July. So, this is not a film that would be for everybody, but like the second I started watching it and was hearing these sort of one-liners and stuff, I was thinking, if Ryan and I lived in the same city, this would be a movie that we would watch together and be like, man, I love these cyberpunk things. It's like Johnny Mnemonic if I thought Johnny Mnemonic was like fun. Like I was just I was really bummed out by Johnny Mnemonic, but like maybe I should revisit it. But like this, the terminology they use, because you always got to jack in or whatever, and like and there's like he's got this connection who just hangs out at like an American Chinese restaurant. It's like, but why is he there? We don't ever know. And yeah,
you don't need to know. You're fine.
Yeah, that's just his headquarters, the counter of
Yeah,
this
just deal with
restaurant. It's thoroughly enjoyable. So if you like lo-fi SOV cyberpunk films with a noisy rock soundtrack, then check out No Resistance. That's my number.
Yeah, I've not watched this yet, but I did buy this from, I think you actually bought it. You said Grindhouse Releasing. I think you meant Grindhouse Video. It's kind of confusing, but Grindhouse Releasing is the label. Grindhouse Video is a distributor.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was confused because there was Saturn's Core, then there was Lunatic Fringes who made it initially, and then Grindhouse Releasing.
Grindhouse Video is like where you bought it because they had that sale. Because you and I were chatting during that sale and talking about things we were potentially picking up, and you mentioned that to me, and I almost picked it up, but I'd already ordered from them. And I was like, I don't know. And so I didn't end up ordering it. And then because Saturn's Core is a partner label, I did pick this up because they had it on sale either Black Friday or the subscriber week or whatever. So I did pick this up, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'm super, super jazzed to watch this one. So
yeah, it's that aesthetic that like some of us of the right age find very comforting. Could be it being SOV. I'm just like, yeah, man. I love this. It's like super mushy and weird, and like there's a sequence in an office where the camera's picking up on I think the ceiling fan light. So it's like doing this weird where you're just like, oh, I don't know what's happening here, but also fascinating. It's just I'm
excited to check this out. These are some great lists. My God.
Yeah, we got 15 absolutely fantastic things to find that, as usual, discoveries, it's not a part of the normal conversation right now.
Right.
And so it's like, that's what's so great about these is giving them a little time to shine when we're able to.
I like that all three of ours, we just had some wild choices. Like, when we talked before about our favorites of the year, it was such a more serious thing. And then we came to discoveries, we're like, look at this fun, crazy
Look at how crazy this. Well, that to me is like what discoveries often are. Like you have one that's, that's like serious. You had, what'd you have on here? No, I guess.
No, nothing really serious.
I guess Seven Chinese Brothers connected in a way that was funny, and you got a lot from finding the
Yeah,
director.
I mean, but it's definitely more of a comedy. His stuff is a little bit more comedy. Seven Chinese Brothers is definitely much more of a comedy than it is anything else. But he's getting fired from Abuga de Beppo, and the guys all hate him,
Sure.
beat him up. Like it can be a little dark, but it's dark humor, but it's comedy for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what it's all about. The discoveries, the fun, the wild, the strange.
They're Dirk Discoveries.
They're Dirk Discoveries.
Yes.
It's why we're all here. Well, gosh. Thanks so much for you both for returning here. It's nice to get to talk to you too.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be back.
Yes. Love these episodes. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You did see that I did have Lilac Ball. If I
Yes.
had done my 10,
Yeah.
I would have put Lilac Ball
Yes.
in my Dirk Discoveries.
Yes.
Which is, Lindsay, if you've not seen this movie,
No. Lilac. Well, okay.
Lilac
I
Ball.
mean, holy crap, is this a wild movie?
Yeah.
Just look at this guy and just see if you might
What
watch
the?
it.
Good that guy.
Yes. What year is this from again?
What year? I don't know.
80. We did a whole show on it.
We did a whole show on it. I think it's from like the 80s or early 90s. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's based on like books, Russian books.
1988 is the film.
Okay. I think the 91 was maybe the animated film, maybe? I
Yeah.
don't know. They did a bunch of these books and they adapted them. I think there was a TV series first, and then they did this movie. And then there's also an animated film. It's wild. I wish I could read anything off the back to help you, but it's all in Russian, so I have no idea. There are subtitles in this, but there is one section that there isn't all of a sudden. So there's the whole scene where I don't know exactly what they say, and they're like going on this ship, and the ship has got this amazing design. There's a lot of like folklore. Once they go down to a planet, they deal with a lot of folklore characters from Russia. It's a crazy, weird fantasy sci-fi hybrid that supposedly is for children. And yeah, Dirk made me watch it, and I was like, well, I must own this so I can show other people what the hell this thing is. So it would have been one of my Dirk Discoveries.
I always look forward to these episodes, and doing the Dirk Discoveries is it's such a treat that we each bring these 5 films to put together, not 10, although I love that Ryan brings 10 and then just shoves them onto the floor.
Why do I always think there's 10? I always do.
Lindsay, where can people find you?
They can find me at the Schlock and Awe podcast, which you can find at all the pods. Schlock and Awe 1 or Reading Geek, either on Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd, and I'm pretty sure I have a link tree, Schlock and Awe 1 as well.
Fantastic. Ryan, where can people find you on your website?
On your website, newworldpicturespodcast.com. Find it. That's where all of our socials are, all of our episodes, t-shirts.
And the mugs. And
the
mugs.
and t-shirts. And get yourself a nice pillow from the episode we did with Lindsay.
That's right.
Devil don't
Warlock.
make it easy.
Heart of
Devil
the
don't
Stag.
make it easy.
Oh.
Get it on a nice orange pillow. I yet to grab that myself, but I need to. You can get a lot of stuff with the Op Center on it. A lot of stuff for not mugs or t-shirts, but you can get a mug. You can get a mug
There you
and just
go.
various other items. Tons of office items.
Perfect. How do they find you on Discord? Is that a private thing or?
It's on our link tree, but
Got
yeah,
it.
I started it with just former guests and a few people that were, had been longtime listeners. And so now we just started opening it up for like people for the worldies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been something that I have been like aggressively advertising in any way, but it is on our link tree if you go to our socials. But you will probably need to ask me for another invite because I have to keep going back in there and adding them because those
Yeah.
Discord invites don't last long. So
Oh, there you go. I love to plug things that make you do more stuff.
well, it's something I have to do anyway if I'm opening it up to people. Which please do come on in and have a good time. It's just trying to grow another community.
Yeah.
Of just good people who love movies and want to hang out and chit chat and BS about it. It's not so much about podcast stuff per se,
but if it was,
but also there is stuff. But
Okay.
not a
Okay.
ton, but
Sure,
not
sure.
entirely.
but not entirely.
yes.
No, it's a lot of movie love. That's what I like about it. People share current watches and things in a supportive way, and I appreciate that. As always, I'm Dirk Marshall, and this has been VHS, where when it comes to rad films and even radder friends, we're not done yet.